Hello everyone. So we'll talk about financial and data governance in GCP. So for GCP, the talk is divided into two sections, as you mentioned, the financial and data governance. So we'll talk individually about each one of them. So starting with financial governance, uh, let's start with understanding what is financial governance. So after the cloud, the adoption of cloud by many companies, there has been a shift from capital expenditure to operations expenditure. What does that mean? So a lot of companies were investing money in buying IT products, right? You were buying servers, you were buying hardwares for setting up your own server or your own data centers. So there has been a major shift from capital expenditure to operations expenditure, and now operations is managing your public cloud infrastructure. So you are hiring a lot of DevOps engineers, you are hiring a lot of cloud administrators to manage your resources on the cloud. So all the operations costs, there has been a major shift to that. Now you want to control your spending and you want to monitor it as well, uh, just because of the dynamic nature of public cloud. So uh, suppose you have a team in India and you have a team in US, and anyone can India and anyone can US spin up a machine in your account. It is that easy. If it was a physical data center, then you would have a limitation to start something or purchase something, start a server. So with the nature of public cloud, it is very easy to start something, use something, and that can be added to the cost. Again, any employee can spin up resources in seconds. So even if you need a GPU machine, it will be up in seconds, and all that adds up as payment to the customer. And so this is a data that was done by Google Cloud. So they said that around 70% of financial experts, so there are financial people in companies, right? X-level employees, C-level employees. So they said that the biggest problem with cloud was that the lack of predictability in cost is their single greatest pain point. So what does financial governance envelop? So it is simplified billing and more accurate, predictable budget forecasting. As simple as that, as the word says, you want your billings to be simple, easy to understand, not to just DevOps teams, not to just the technical teams, but to the financial teams, to accountants, to C-level employees, and they are accurate and easily predictable, uh, and for forecasting. Now let's discuss why financial governance is critical. So the cloud promise, the whole premise of cloud is that pay for what you need when you need it. Now this is so much difficult to predict. For example, when you're purchasing a hardware, you know what your usage would be, who you know, what are you purchasing a hardware for. But the cloud, you have everything accessible to you with very few APIs, with very few clicks, and a simple Terraform code. So uh, the financial governance becomes critical there. You would start an instance and sleep over it, and then okay, it is costing $100 to you in the morning. So you want to avoid all that. Accessibility that makes cloud platforms attractive leads to reduced controls and mushrooming costs. So again the same example. Very basic things like you're running a query in a service like Athena on GC on EMI on AWS, and similarly you're running a big query that but the data is residing in another region. Again, that amounts to costs which could have been avoided, right? And companies are realizing that more than third of their cloud spend was wasted due to inefficiency. So in an industry of $277 billion, the industry realized that around one third of that, around 100 billion, we are wasting on inefficiencies, such as underutilized compute resources. And this has amounted to be 40% overspending predicted by 2020 in the organizations that lack cost optimization processes. So that is why the financial governance becomes critical. Now, how do we move towards effective governance? So here we are talking about GCP. So these are some of the we could say features of things that you could do in GCP to control those. So you can control who can use and manage cloud resources. How do we do that? You have granular policies and permissions. And so you could say, okay, this person is allowed to start a machine, this person is allowed to run a query, these set of persons are not. And again, you have to follow the least privilege policy. So you allow, so the principle of least privilege policy is very simple, that you allow whatever you are needed, nothing more, not even a single extra policy. So as so this is what is provided by other cloud providers as well. Again, this is provided by GCP as well. Uh, Then there are resource quota policies. So what are resource quota policies in GCP? That you could say that X user can only run 5 instances. Someone else can run only 5 queries in BigQuery. So these kind of quotas are also there in GCP, and you can set quota on the number of instances, the type of instances, and this will all help you controlling the rate at which cloud services are consumed. These can be connected to alerting system as well. So suppose your engineer starts an instance and it is the limit is of 5, and then it started the 6 instance, then it will alert the team, okay, that there is a 6 instance which you need to terminate to be within the quota. Now you have to control your spending as well. So programmatic budget notifications. So you can set the threshold. Okay, if I go above this, please set an alert, and you alert me that okay, we are going this. And then you have automated budget actions. So automated budget actions, we were like, okay, if I'm going over this budget, kind of terminate this or remove this. These kind of features are available in GCP. Okay, now we can talk about individual tools that provide us these things. So one is the Google Cloud Billing Report. So you can have, the first feature is billing report. This screenshot is from a billing report. So if you look at the screenshot, it says you have spent this much, which is where it is also showing a trend that okay, over the last 15 days in July, you're crossing 27% above, and you're forecasted to go 19% over the last month. So billing reports will provide you forecast, and you can also, use labels. You can also distribute your products, SKUs. So all that detailed understanding of where you are spending your money is available in these reports. And you can also export these reports to BigQuery and Data Studio, where you can also create custom dashboards on this data. So if you want advanced understanding of where your money is going, export the data to BigQuery and do that. Then there are billing APIs. So this information is also available as API. So you can build your own systems out of it. Maybe, do, and for example, instead of having auto scaling on, let's say, CPU memory, you have auto scaling based on the amount of cost you are spending. So you get the information, trigger scaling based on that. So these APIs are available. And then there are intelligent recommendations. Okay, what is the right size for your VM based on your usage? So Google does that, GCP does that. It will provide you the intelligent recommendations for the VM size and the number of instances. Okay, now again, similar to what other cloud providers has, Google has something called resource hierarchy and resource labels. So what is the hierarchy? So hierarchy is something that is available with G Suite, and within the diagram we can say, okay, there is a company that is an organization, and within an organization you have multiple departments, and within the department you can have multiple teams which are working on multiple products, and within a product you can have multiple sub projects. So this organization hierarchy, Google kept in mind that you are replicating whatever there is in the actual world. And let's say within the actual project you have multiple kind of instances, so you can also label them, okay, my this instances are for my front end, these instances are for my back end, and these instances are for my environment, prod or pre-prod or dev. So labeling in within the resources is also available in GCP, and so you can understand your costs up to the level of labels. So you could say, okay, whatever is there in my developer with the label dev, tell me what's the cost of it. So uh, that granular understanding of cost is available in GCP. Uh, and then how do you control it? So, oh sorry. So you control it with organizational policy. So up from top to bottom, you can set up organizational policy. So you can say, okay, in a company, let's say Department X is just creating your certain kind of um, applications. Department wise, your analytics applications. You can say, okay, department wise only allowed to use BigQuery or Cloud SQL or these kind of services, and department X can control these kind of services. So at every level you can have policies using Cloud IAM to control what everyone can access. Then again, as I talked about quotas, so you can set quotas for each of them, and then you can also set budgets for each of them. And you will have a billing administrator. You can use PubSub Cloud Functions. So Cloud Functions is very similar to Lambda. Cloud PubSub is very similar to AWS SQS, and then billing API is what you use, and you can alert the mm, administrator. Uh, cool. So this was very brief about financial governance in GCP. Now let's move to data governance. Now, what is data governance? It had a huge definition. I tried to divide it into smaller chunks. So data governance is a very broad term, but if we summarize it, it is ensuring that your data is secure, your data is private, your data is accurate, available, and usable. Now, what each of these terms means: secure, very understandable, that your sorry, data does not come into the hand of unsolicited persons. Private, suppose there is a certain financial data, so you do not want other teams to access it, right? So your data is controlled privately by the team that is supposed to access it. Your data is accurate, again, pretty simple, that 1 plus 1 should always be 2, and it should always store 2. uh, and it is available, that whenever you need that data, you can try to access it, you can query it, you can have it, and in whatever form you're storing it. And and then it is usable. So suppose you have a lot of unstructured data, um, on which you cannot run queries. So you want to store data in such a way that it is usable, right? So you can use uh, data streaming to clean that and store it in and get a structured data out of it. So you're ensuring that your data is usable to some other application or to an end user. Uh, it again, within data governance definition, it's also said that it should include actions people must take when something, let's say, something goes wrong, when your data is ingested, when your data is gathered, when your data is moved to some other place, or your data is policies are defined, the processes they must follow, the processes of uh, access, the processes of who can change what, and the technology that supports throughout the data life cycle. So the technology part has been taken care of by GCP. Actions and processes have to be defined by the organization that owns the data. And then in the end, you have to set internal standards, policies on how data is gathered, on data is stored, processed, disposed, and compliant. So as compliance is again a bigger concerns for data related governance. Again, why do we need data governance in the cloud? So very simple. You have to make better and more timely decisions. So you need to provide usable data to teams, and it should be available, right? So suppose we are storing cost information data in our BigQuery, and suppose we have certain limit, an auditing is happening, and the finance team says, okay, the data is not available, or the data is 1 month older. So you have to make sure that your data is available, and that can help you make better and timely decisions. Improve cost controls. This is the example I mentioned. Your data lifecycle policies. When do you move data? How much time of data you need to store? Again, enhanced regulatory compliances. There are a lot of compliances based on data. So uh, governance policies for your data can ensure compliance, earn greater trust from customers and suppliers. Again, so if you have a governance policy, you can say we are doing this, we are following this, we our data is this much compliant, and these are the life cycle policies of data. So you tell customers, okay, we are doing this, and GCP as a cloud provider will help you achieve that. Manage risks more easily. Your data flow, where is it going, how much of you are removing it, all that, and allow more personnel to access more data. Now this is counterintuitive, right? So we said least privilege, and why are we saying allow more personnel to access more data? So by this we mean whenever we have a policy, we want teams to make decisions based on data. We want people to make decisions on data, and in order to do that, you want to provide data to them. So y- having a secure pipeline to do that is what we have in the data governance. That okay, we will provide whatever data you need, but we'll follow certain policies. What is data governance used for? So there is data stewardship. That is a new concept that uh, you tell who's accountable and responsible for data, and then you create data stewards in your team. And stewards, I guess in English definition, are persons who are responsible and right. So this policy will tell you, okay, if something is wrong in this data, if something is goes wrong with this data, if data is uh, leaked or data is compromised, you say, okay, these are the stewards, and uh, you can set this up for. Again, data quality, wide word. So you can have data discovery setup, you can have data cleaning, just like we have the usage, and cataloging as well. So you could say, so discovery is like we have huge amount of data and we want to understand what it is, something which cloud search does. So Google search, it has a lot of data, but it will tell you, okay, for your query, this is what I discovered. And then data management. Data management is a wide word. Uh, so you can say the flow, the governance, the authorization, authentication part of it, who access what, and the life cycles, everything is covered within the data management. So these three are the pillars where you can use data governance, where data governance is used for. Now, what are the services in GCP that allow you to do that? BigQuery in itself is a query service engine, but then it has a lot of features that you could use for data governance. You have columnar level permissions. You have uh, permissions for tables on who can do that, who can query what. Then there is the data catalog service where you can say, okay, you can define discovery and metadata management. So metadata management is like your schema management for your uh, unstructured data, or maybe structured as well. Then there is DLP service, data loss prevention service, which again help you discover, classify, and protect the most sensitive data. So how does it do that? Okay, so you have data and you tell, okay, this column or these many columns have my PII. So you tell data DLP service, okay, please classify them and remove it from the final storage and store it somewhere else. So that is, you can simply integrate your DLP with other services, and this is how DLP can help you. Then you have cloud IEM again, permissions and access control is all via IEM. So these are the four services you can look at when you come into GCP to implement some kind of data governance in your project. Uh, I am done and open for Q&A.